The beautiful summary of the redemptive history God accomplished we hear in the first reading, freeing the people of Israel from the tragedy of famine through Joseph, and also freeing the people of Israel from bondage and slavery in Egypt through Moses and his experience of the presence and power of God in the burning bush. This is this action of God is fulfilled most completely in what all that our Savior Jesus Christ did in coming into the world in the flesh incarnate and giving his life for us so completely, not only in proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and working countless wonders in our midst, but the greatest wonder of all is his giving his life completely in his death on the cross to set us free from the bondage of sin and rising from the dead, which is the clear evidence that he is God and that he has broken the bonds of sin and death. So this saving action, this redemptive work, is the very inspiration for our order, for the foundation of our order. For as you have heard, or maybe for some who maybe are joining us in this series for the first time, the history of our order is such that our founder, Peter Nolasco, when he would see the slaves, the Christians, not slaves, but really captives is the better word, the Christians who were being held for hostage by the Muslims, he would use his own funds to set them free, pay for the ransom. But soon he used up the funds. And in his distress, seeing the situation, because when these Christians lose hope of being redeemed, of being ransomed, many times they work at giving up their faith. There were laws to prevent it from being easy to do, but still, if they insisted and worked hard, many Christians did give up their faith. And this deeply distressed our founder, St. Peter Nolasco, so much so that he used all that he had as a merchant to set them free. And of course that runs out. And he comes before Our Lady and asks for insight, and Our Lady appears and inspires him to establish our religious community in conjunction with King James of Aragon, so that by begging for alms, we could use those alms every year in a general chapter. It was organized, and we would prepare to go on a redemption, and 2 redeemers would go to pay the ransom for the captive Christians. And what happened oftentimes is that there were more than expected, and it was always a great drama, and so many times it happens that the funds are not enough, so a Mercedarian would stay behind. So exercising the 4th vow is to accept captivity, to stay behind, to allow the captive Christians to be set free, and that Mercedarian stays behind awaiting his ransom and the hope of it. And many times it also happened that the ransom did not arrive in time. So Mercedarians fulfilled what Jesus himself did. He offered his own life to set us free. And in a way, this redemptive love, this act of total self-giving, is what we can consider and see as sort of the New Testament version of the burning bush. Just as that burning bush is aflame in a mysterious way, so we are called as followers of Christ to give our lives to Christ and to live in his redemptive love that sets the world free and sets it on fire with divine love. And that's what we're celebrating today in this solemnity of St. Peter Nolasco, that Christ is calling all of us to participate in this. And throughout the history, not only did we do these redemptions up until the end of the situation of slavery, the official end of it, and captivity, but also in countless other ways, in fulfilling all the works of mercy. The redemption that is done by the Mercedarians exercises all the corporal and spiritual works of mercy, not only giving food and drink and clothing to the naked, and setting these captives free, but also encouraging them, instructing them, and consoling them. So it's corporal and spiritual works of mercy. So Mercedarians do countless throughout the ages exercises as a community and in our parish ministries, and wherever there is a situation that the faith is in some kind of danger. And it's very easy to see how, since Mercedarians went to places where the Christians were being held in dungeons, there's a natural understanding of something of the ministry for those who are in jails and prisons. And that's why this particular gospel is given as an option, because we hear Jesus say to those who came to visit him in prison, blessed are you. And we see this in our Constitution, where wherever there is some bondage or there is some risk to the faith, we are called as Mercedarians to give our lives, to give our efforts and our energy. And as a vicariate and as a Mercedarian family here in the United States, we see how there are forces opposing the growth of the integrity of family life. And St. Raymond Nonatus is our saint, patron saint of Christian families, because he was nonatus, that means not born. So miraculously he was born into a family, and so he becomes the patron of expectant mothers and asking our intercessor before God for the integrity of family life. And we know that there's so many forces in our society that are violating this very foundation. So as a Mercedarian family, we want to assist people, especially in the most difficult situation. That's why in particular we focus on our first initiative and aspect is the aspect of, or the area where people suffer separation and divorce. For that affects the faith even more, besides all the other forces working against the living of the faith. So we are celebrating the foundation of our order through our St. Peter Nolasco, and this is the anniversary. It is understood that he did leave this world on this date, May 6th. I think it was 1245. It was established, that it was certainty. It was on this date. So we're celebrating the day of his entrance into eternal life, being received, as we see in the gospel, by Jesus, because of all these beautiful works of mercy that he accomplished. So we continue our prayers in this Eucharist that we can fulfill this charism, to be witnesses of the mercy and the love of God to all those who are in need. And in particular, we're going to offer these Mass intentions that were asked for the situation we're all in now. We're all in a certain sense in a real captivity because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So our freedom is restricted. And so there is some risk for us, especially now, where on the one hand, we have this blessing of the internet for us to be able to participate in this digital way in this Holy Eucharist. But we know also in the same reality, there's other great dangers. There's the dark side that can make the bondage even worse. So our prayer is that this will be an opportunity for all of us to choose what's good, because the love that Christ offers to us is something that must be embraced from our freedom, from our free wills. It cannot be something that's forced, but also at the same time, all people must recognize that in whatever they're choosing, they are making a choice. And our prayer is that they will choose what is good, what is beautiful, what leads us to truth, and what leads us to goodness, and what leads us to freedom. This is our sincere prayer.